Hello and welcome to this rhythmic episode of Takes and Talks presented to you by Cinema for a Cause. There is a famous dictum in Sanskrit regarding music. It says, Na vidya sangitat para. That means, no knowledge is beyond the knowledge of music. And again, it says, Geetam vadyam tatha nrityam trayam sangeetamuchyate. That means music comprises of three art forms. It has Geetam, that means vocal music. Then it has Vadyam, that means instrumental music. And then it has Nityam, that means dance. So blessed are those individuals who have found their inner calling in music through these art forms. And blessed is Takes and Talks to have one such bright music talent in this episode. And he is none other than Subhadrakalyan. The tabla recital, which we all enjoyed just now, was Tabla Tarang, an ancient and lost form of music, which Subhadrakalyan has revived in his own way. This song, Aha Ki Anando Akashe Batashe, from the film Hirok Rajar Deshe, was his tribute to the master filmmaker Satyajit Ray on the occasion of his birth centenary. Dear all, now it's the time to welcome our today's guest, Subhadrakalyan. But before I literally welcome him, let me tell you that in this episode, we are not just going to focus on his tutelage or his musical journey. Rather, the focus is also on how good parenting has been a blessing for him. And of course, how music has been a guiding force and a change agent in his life. So let's meet Subhadrakalyan.
Hello, Namaskar.
Hello, Subhadrakalyan. Welcome to Takes
Hi.
and Talks.
Thank you so much.
It was a delight. It was a treat to see you playing tabla.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, I would like to welcome the very backbone of our cinema for a cause, the ideator and moderator of Takes and Talks, Mr. Abhishek Ganguli. Mr. Ganguli, welcome to the show. Hello,
Thank you
very good
so much,
evening.
Mr. Yeah, good evening, and it's great to hear, the fantastic,
Really,
amazing, Tabla Tarang, which uh, right now was played by Shubhadra Kollan. Shubhadra, how are
right.
you? Hello. Hi,
Yeah,
Shubhadra.
yeah, I'm
I hope
fine.
you're fine.
I, I'm
Great to
fine.
see
I'm
you
fine.
in
I'm
Takes
doing
and
fine.
Talks. You know,
I,
I'm a
Exactly.
big
I, I'm
fan.
so happy to be here.
Okay, I
We
am a
are
big
we all
fan
are
of
so
yours.
happy to have you here.
Yeah, I am a big fan of yours. So, now we would kind of have a small adda on your journey and your
Perfect.
evolution as a performing artist.
Exactly. But
Shubhadro,
yeah,
your
before
initial.
before we start, let me tell our viewers that Takes and Talks is your very own show, very own platform. So please participate in the show by sending us your reactions, your valuable comments and suggestions. You can also send your queries or questions to Subhadrakalyan, which will be duly answered by him towards the end of the show. Now,
If
finally,
I
over to
am
you, Mr.
qualified
Ganguli.
enough to answer those questions.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Over to you,
thank
Mr.
you,
Ganguli.
Sharmishtha. Thank you, Sharmishtha. Shubhadro, let us get into the questions because we have a shortage of
Correct.
time. Your initial school days, they were not very pleasant. And
Yeah, it was.
like there were lots of ups and downs, tests and turmoils which you had to face. So if you look
Mhm.
back, if you flash back about maybe 15, 16 years back, or maybe 12, 13 years back, what memories, what anecdotes would you like to share with us?
Well, as you say, that they were not much pleasant those days back when I was in that particular school, where my father was also a student and he taught there for 10 years. Uh, I was literally tortured there because the teachers were quite inhumane in treating the children. I was beaten on my finger for not writing the dictation when I was in class 1. And then when I was in class 3, a teacher, one particular lady teacher, continuously uh, abused me by opening my pants in front of the class. And she said that was kind of love she showed for the students. The prefect of the primary section, it was a Roman Catholic school, so we had prefect, headmaster, all of that. He enjoyed caning on my palms. And then there were people who were good to me. Like we had Indrani Madam, Indrani Dasgupta, Saraswati Madam, Saraswati Biswas, uh, Sharmishtha Madam, Sharmishtha Sen, Shaila Madam, Shaila Onto. Hi, Orjama. Great. Shaila Madam, Shaila Onto, and Moon Madam, Moon Ray. Uh, all of them, all of them loved me quite much, and I enjoyed their company. I enjoyed being in their classes. But there were people like whom I just talked about before I talked about them. And when I was in the secondary section, I, I I would be tortured by even senior students who would be instigated by some teachers. Uh, when I was in class 5, one particular teacher would make me sit on the floor, and his notion was tabla cheese. He did not call me a tabla, he called me tabla cheese, which is quite a derogatory word for any tabla there. A tabla cheese should always sit on the floor. That's how. That's what I was told. And well, I might be missing out not many more things, but one particular teacher, it was so ridiculous and very stupid of her. She just came in front of me one day and said that you're quite an arrogant person. You must search on Facebook about me to know who I am. See, this is quite ridiculous. A teacher threatening a student like this. And there was one teacher. All of them were lady teachers. And there was one particular teacher who made me stand on the bench, and she would point her finger on me and say that he has a very uneducated father. So you must, all the other students must keep away from him. These things happened with me in that
Yeah, I
particular school.
understand that, like the torture and the testing conditions you had gone through.
Yeah.
Shubhadro, if you can just tell us that whether our present education system is matured to give singular care to each student, because at that time we are all, very, very nascent and we are trying to
Mhm.
blossom in our own way. So, do you think that the education system is matured? And in your view, what are the ideal qualities of a perfect teacher? What does Subhadra Kollan tell us about that?
Well, Regarding the first question, I can say that it's not possible for any person in a class to attend to each student in a very spiritual way. But school always calls for a community development, and all the children should mingle with one another, and they should grow up together. That's how it should be accepted. And children should be accepted as they are. They must not be molded into the particular normalcy the teachers would want them to be in. And then perfect teacher should always be helpful for his students. A perfect teacher should should always stand by his students. Like uh, the teachers I talked about, they did stand by me when I would be in trouble. So that's the primary quality a teacher should have. And then the teacher should be ready to accept questions and arguments from the students. And that's a very this part is quite delicate in our education system, both in academic education and music education. The teachers are not in the habit of accepting questions or arguments from the students, and they always want
Cor-
complete what we call it samarpan,
Samarpan.
submission, complete submission.
Yeah, yeah, correct. Very rightly said and very beautifully observed. Like if a teacher cannot really answer questions of the student, how is he or she a teacher? Because she has to provide answers to the question. And,
He or
it,
she
I,
must not be knowing every answer, but he or she
very
should
true.
be broad enough to accept that he or she doesn't know the answer.
Correct, correct. And, like I also feel that it should be a learning, unlearning kind of a situation where both of them
Of
can learn
course.
from each other. Even, you can learn a
Mhm.
lot from your students.
Yeah, of
Yeah, that
course, of
should be
course,
the
of course.
that should be the perfect, hallmark of a good teacher. Uh,
Mhm.
Shubhodro,
I
after
go to
that,
places, take workshops, and I always learn from the kids that I teach there. And their questions enlighten me quite much.
very true, very true. So after that, in your journey ahead, your parents took you out of that school where your father was teaching at,
Yeah.
it was his ex school also, and then you were
And
admitted
they
to
put me to
another
AK
school.
Ghosh Memorial School. AK Ghosh
Yeah,
Memorial
yeah.
School.
So what was your experience in AK Ghosh Memorial?
AK Ghosh Memorial School was like heaven to me. Uh,
Okay.
I was fortunate to get teachers like Chandrima ma'am and Nobendu sir. Every of them. I might be missing a lot, many people from AK Ghosh, but almost all of the teachers, they were they were quite supportive for all the creative endeavors I tried my hands in. And they would always support me. Rima ma'am, Navendu sir, Swarendu sir, Tuhin sir, they would always support me. They would always encourage me to practice music, to practice my writing poetries and all. They were quite supportive. And they always encouraged all my eccentricities, the momentary impulses I would show up in times. So that was quite a tough phase for me, but they all accepted me as what I was. And they, of course, helped me to grow into a better man,
Excellent, excellent.
even
We
better.
must compliment we must compliment all the teachers you had in AK Ghosh. I'm sure
Of
they were
course.
extremely, extremely patient with you. They at least answered your questions, and they learned from you and unlearned, whatever they
I
had
would not
had
say
to learn.
that, but well,
Anyway,
I
but it
would
was a
always encourage. I would always be encouraged by them, and
correct, correct.
whenever I asked them any question, they would answer me, or they would either answer me or suggest me some books that might have the answer, that might have the answer of that particular question that I asked them. Yeah,
Correct. So they did not avoid, and they had a solution for whatever you had asked them for. So
yeah.
that's fantastic.
Always, always.
Shubhadro, we know that the first school of any person, and as they say, the biggest learning happens right at home. It all
Mhm,
starts from the home when the mother and father they nurture the child after the child's birth.
mhm,
Parenting is of extreme important essence today in today's modern world, and due to good parenting, lots of children really bloom into a beautiful flower. Due to bad
mhm.
parenting, lots of seeds get totally wasted. So in your case, your parenting was done by your father and mother. So what do you think was their contribution in, like framing or, framing your future and making you as Subhadrakalyan you are today? So what has been the contribution of your parents towards your becoming
My
a
my
human being?
parents my parents have immensely contributed to my growth, and I must say that many people don't know that my mother and my grandmother, both of them, are very good singers. They were my first gurus, Sangeet gurus. Uh, so they were my first Sangeet gurus, and my father loves music quite much. He took me to different gurus for learning music, and they always give me a complete freedom that I deserve. So, well, they have contributed immensely.
So that's very important, for all the parents who are watching. You have to
Mhm,
give your ward freedom, freedom of
mhm.
thought, freedom of expression, freedom of creative excellence.
Yeah, Shubhadra, please continue.
Yeah, sorry,
There could be
I went
technical
offline. Yeah,
facilities.
Subhadra, a very
Yeah.
important
My mistake.
question. The parents were your gurus at home. Now you
My
have
first
also
gurus,
been
like uh, my grandmother
first guru,
Ratnadas and my mother
Ratna
Madhupanara.
Das, your grandmother. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
correct. You have also been blessed by extreme, very eminent gurus who have again
Mhm,
nurtured you from a clay to the final idol you are today. So, can you just
mhm.
tell us about your gurus and what really have
Of
been the
course.
blessing from them?
Yeah. Uh, this opens a whole new chapter. I must be saying all of their
Correct.
contributions in my
Yeah.
life. The first guru outside my home was the Prophet Pandit Uday, and Udayji would always be very kind to me. He was like he would always encourage me to sing whatever I wanted to. He taught me through it, and I still learn from him. It's been 17 years I've been learning. And then this was when I was 3 years old, and when I was 3.5 years old, I was taken to Pandit Shankar Ghosh for learning the tabla. And Guruji would be like when I speak of Guruji Acharya Shankar Ghosh, he is I can say he is a perfect teacher, and he should be the ideal for every teacher. Like he would give me utmost care, and he would teach me. I would sit on his lap, and I would learn from him. My first lessons were quite quite interesting for me. He made my first lessons seem interesting, and Guruji would always like Guruji was a great man, and I found a grandfather figure in him. And Guruji taught me for 12 years until his death. And well, I learned a lot from Guruji, not only about not only how to play tabla, but also how to lead a perfect life. And Guruma too was quite supportive. I did not learn from my Guruma then. I started learning from my Guruma Vidusha Sanjukta Ghosh from 2016. Guruma, Guruma is again a particular person who is so true at heart that it really is uh, a lifetime experience to learn from her. And I have learned so many things from her. I have learned so many ragas, so many compositions from her. And then Bikram Kapoor. Bikram Kapoor, but the Bikram Ghosh, I have been learning from him since my religious demise. And Bikram Kapoor is Bikram Kapoor is exemplary teacher. I would say. Bikram Kapoor would always be kind, and today morning I had class with him. He was teaching me on how to focus on the dynamics of tabla, and he teaches me all the integral parts of the tabla. And he not only teaches me tabla, but he also encourages my other creative activities, like he encourages my singing, my writing poems, and my reading books. We often discuss about books, and he suggests me books to read. I can say I've really been blessed by these people in my life, and also I have been blessed by people like Sir General Abedin. Sir General Abedin taught me for 2 to 3 years. Then I was under the tutelage of Gadadakar. Omkar Da, once again, is a very kind person. I'm still in touch with him. And another person I want to mention, he's Pandit Bush. I have also learned a lot of ragas, a lot of compositions, partitions from him in different ragas. Recently, I've learned from him the raga Dipavali. So Pandit Bush is another person who is Guru Saman.
Yeah, so Shubhadra, I can understand very well that you have been blessed by all the gurus you've had. And as you said, like they have made the lessons very interesting and they have been extremely honest to the form of art which they are training the disciple in. You are also a trained vocal artist. So can we
Mhm.
just get some, snippets of a vocal performance from you? Is that possible now? Or is it asking
Of
for too
course.
much after a tabla
Yeah.
tarang? So maybe
No, no,
a small vocal
definitely.
snippet from Subhadrakalyan.
This is a particular composition that I've learned. I'm going to sing two compositions, if you allow. The first one would be what I've learned from my Guru, which is this is a rare composition in Raga Jai Jayanti. लावे दुख दरे मेरू सब कट जावे बोल अविदा लव निकलावे दुख दरे मेरू सब कट जावे बोल अविदा दिन दे गुजरिया तब दे पाने दिन दे गुजरिया तब दे पाने रात गुजरिया दिल गिन ताने बोल बिताने लव निकलावे दुख दे मेरो सब कट जावे बोलन बितावे. That's one
Lovely.
song.
That was really extremely
And
heart stirring,
if you
soul
would allow,
stirring.
I would like to sing one of my own compositions here because
Okay, please, please.
this is a Bengali song, but I would particularly like to sing this because this song, I have tried to portray the current picture of India through this song.
Oh,
And for me, music
okay.
has not only been a spiritual medium, but also a political medium too. And I think this particular song uh, does some service to the political cause that music is about.
Correct. We are all ears. Please start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
আজ বিদেশে গেছে আমার দেশ আজ বিদেশে গেছে আমার দেশ বয় রক্ত বন্যা হায় ভারত কন্যা চলে লাঞ্ছনা সাথে নিয়ে মৃত্যুর পথে আজ বিদেশে গেছে আমার দেশ বয় রক্ত বন্যা হায় ভারত কন্যা
চলে লাঞ্ছনা সাথে নিয়ে মৃত্যুর পথে, আজ বিদেশে গেছে আমার দেশ। শুনি বৃথাকার ভেসে আসে দূর হতে, শুনি বৃথাকার ভেসে আসে দূর হতে, তবু অপরাধ বোধ কেন যায় ছেড়ে চলে। আমি দুঃখ বিলাসী সাধনায় অবিরত পেতে থাকি, অহেতুক সঙ্গীত সঙ্গতে বয় রক্ত বন্যা, হায় ভারত কন্যা। চলে লাঞ্ছনার সাথে নিয়ে মৃত্যুর পথে, আজ বিদেশে গেছে আমার দেশ।
That
Hello?
was really great. Yeah, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm having
Yeah,
a throat problem due to this winter.
I understand. I understand. So this has been self-composed, self-written, everything you've done yourself.
Just a few days back.
Okay, okay. Subhadra, tell us that who are your favorite musicians and
My
what
favorite
music do
musicians.
you prefer during your me time? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's a nice question. Well, my favorite musicians are Ustad Zakir Hussain and Pandit Ravi Shankar, Ustad Amjad Ali Khan, and of course Pandit Uday Bawalkar, my Guruji, Pandit Chakraborty, Pandit Vicky. Apart from my gurus, my favorite musicians are Pandit Shubhankar Banerjee, Pandit Nayan Ghosh, uh, Dr. L. Subramaniam, and all of them, like Dr. L. Shankar, and for among the Western violinists, I always prefer to listen to David Oistrakh, and particularly my most favorite violinist is Joshua Heifetz, Fritz Chrysler, and all of them, and Clara Woods, Alfred Brendel, the pianists. I'm a great fan of Western classical music too, and during my me time, I mostly prefer to listen to classical music, particularly the
Excellent.
symphonies by Beethoven. And my most favorite composition among all the Western classical compositions is Jupiter by Mozart, the 41st symphony, uh, preferably.
Okay, okay.
Uh, that's always preferred to anything else. Like, my other favorite symphonies are the Fifth by Beethoven, Pastoral by Beethoven, and
So it's
yeah,
a fantastic mix of East and West, as I can see.
yeah.
Shubhad, Shubhadra, our research team has researched on you and they have found out that you have a lot of interest in films also. Mr. Satyajit Ray being your hot favorite, and you've done a lot of work, you've written about him, lots of articles. Is music direction also on cards? Shall we see Shubhadra Kollan's name in films also maybe after 5, 10 years?
I would like to. I designed the score for one of your films, I remember.
I know.
And
True. Correct.
but then yeah, if opportunities come, I'm surely going to take.
Yeah. And we also
Not very
know
sure
that
what I'm
you,
going to do in future. So
this is a creative genius speaking, always undecided, always trying to explore new and newer things. So that's the spirit. We
the other
totally.
day, I was talking to one of my friends and I referred to Rabindranath for this. Rabindranath had written, "জীবন আমার চলছে যেমন তেমনি ভাবেই সহজ কঠিন ছন্দে দ্বন্দ্বে কেটে যায়."
Correct.
So I believe in that.
Coming from Rabindranath, we also know that you are also into writing. You're a poet also. You are a journalist
Mhm.
also, regularly writing for leading newspapers. When did it
Mhm.
happen? When did you start your writing part?
Well, I did not really think that I would evolve into a writer all someday. But when I was in class 9, I had a classmate, Mohini, and
Okay.
Mohini would always Mohini would always tell me, Shubhodro, why don't you write? Shubhodro, you start writing. And that's how it all started. I just casually wrote a poem one day. I showed it to her, and then she said, it's very great. Mohini is still one of my most favorite poets among all the other Indian English poets like British Note, Kamala Das. I also keep Mohini in my list. Once Mohini said that this is great, you can start off with writing. And I started off, and then I was appointed as the school coordinator in Voices, the weekly supplement of the Statesman. There, I was
Yeah.
immensely supported by our mentor, Gopali Banerjee, Mrs. Gopali Banerjee, Gopali ma'am, or Gopali ma'am would be Gopali ma'am would be quite supportive for all my experimental write-ups and all. She published my sonnets, and then I would once I would shift to TTIS, the television schools, I would be immensely supported by Mr. Biswanath Dasgupta. Vishwanath sir,
Right.
Vishwanath still encourages me to write. He encourages me in my other creative endeavors as well. He is a great supporter. He is a great supporter. And then, of course, I was also helped by Farah Khatun when I worked for Young Metro. Farah Khatun was quite kind to publish my poems, my experimental poems, and they all have great support for me. And for me, I took up I took up the work of a journalist quite accidentally. Once I found it quite interesting to be people like Sandeep Page, Pramita Chatterjee, Subhadrakalyan Chakraborty, Swapn Chaudhary, Dev Chakraborty. So, well, it was quite accidental. I did not plan this event.
You'll continue.
Yeah. What do you think is the musical career a challenge or a blessing? You are all poised to get into it. So, what is your take on that?
Well, when my guru always says that music is the best companion one can have, but when I am taking it as a profession, it definitely is a challenge because in any profession there is a challenge. So, uh, no profession is bad. It's it's very wrong to comment to make a linear comment on this. But yeah, like any other profession, music too has ups and downs and all. But then one must be true to his words. One must be quite. One must know what one can do, what one can't do. Self-assessment is quite important when one is a musician, when one aspires to be anything.
Good. Uh, if we ask you to, do a self audit, if you have to
Mhm.
kind of, like get into really introspection, and if you have to do a SWOT analysis, especially
Mhm.
looking at your weaknesses, where do you
Mhm.
think Subhadrakalyan needs to improve? Maybe
I
personally,
haven't thought about it
professionally,
actually.
personality wise?
I
Yeah,
haven't thought about it
please.
actually. Things come to me so naturally that I react to them in my own ways, and I don't think that. Again, why should I be assessing myself? Assessment is not my job. Yeah, a self-assessment is good, but then again, I should say that it must not get it must not turn into an obsession. One must not get into an obsession of um, self-assessing. It's good what you can do. You must be aware of your own limitations, own abilities. That does not mean that you will get into uh, you'll start being obsessed about your qualities or your disabilities if there is.
True. So you have to introspect at times, like kind of assess the situation and assess your own capabilities. I think that is the
As
way
much
a
as
person can
necessary.
evolve.
As
Yeah,
much
as
as
much as
necessary.
necessary. That's very true. Shubhadru, you're smart, you're good looking, you are extremely talented, you're a rising star. You must be hogging a lot of admiration, lot of fanfare. So how does Shubhadru Kollan handle all this?
Well, so far as I'm concerned, I think some people who really love my performances
Yeah.
are great support for me, and it's them who keep me alive. So I really appreciate that they always keep on blessing me for my betterment and all. You are also one of the great supports I've got because uh,
I
you
am your
first
big
launched my
admirer and
project on
fan.
uh, you first launched my Tabla concert, so that's a great thing. But yeah, when I what you call fanfare and all, I completely look up to them as great supports for me. for my.
Excellent. So I would wish all the fans, admirers, all the Subhadrakalyan to keep on supporting us with the questions. We'll have a very small question and answer session. I'm sure a lot of questions have come from our viewers. On to Sharmishtha,
Mhm.
please, for the questions session.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ganguli. Now, moving on to the question answer session. We have a few questions for you, Shubhadra. Okay. Now, what did your experience teach you about people and situations?
Well, who asks this? Arjuma. It's great.
Yes,
What did
maybe
my
she has asked it
experiences?
on behalf of so many viewers, right?
Yeah, it's great. What
Right.
did my experience teach me about people and situations? Yeah, my experiences taught me that people are quite dynamic, and once you get to understand them, they are the easiest ones to deal with. And the situations fall into places when you know how to deal with the proper people, or how to deal properly with the people. You must know to say the right things at the right time. So that's what I've been taught by these situations and by my experiences.
Okay, now moving, that was a very nice answer. I would like to move on to the next question. In fact, apart from questions, we have really got some good comments for you. I mean, love messages. I'd like to, display it on the screen. Can you see that?
Moshobi Mukhopadhyay, thank you. We're proud of you, my son. Stay blessed. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Now, I would like to move on to the next question because we're running short of time. What is your take on mental health and coping mechanism?
Well, that's a good question. Mental health can be managed. It is not really manageable at times, but it
Mhm.
should be dealt with a proper, it could be dealt with properly if a person having such issues has good friends around. Like I have many good friends around me. So I had them back when I was at particular school. Friends
Okay,
are great elements for growth, I should say.
true,
Good
very
friends
true.
are necessary in life. Like
Exactly.
I have so many good friends. Orjuma is one of them. Is there? Uh, I have so many good friends in my life that I always get good apparatus to cope up with my mental health issues.
Yeah.
But I really don't give much importance to my what, mental downfalls because I don't consider them as downfalls. But yeah, whenever I'm sad or whenever I need to talk to people, my friends are always there. I'm very grateful to
That's
them.
great. Yes. And it's always said that you may not have many friends, but it's better to have a few friends, but a good friends, right? That's what it
The smaller
matters.
the
Quality,
circle, the
quality.
purer it is. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. You should have quality friends. That's what is always said. Okay, that's a very nice answer and a very honest reply from your end. I just like to move on to the next question. So, since you are a writer, you are a poet, you're a journalist, as a writer, who is your inspiration or what is your inspiration?
Till today,
It
Mohini
could,
is my greatest inspiration for it.
sorry, please
The
come again.
first, till today, Mohini
Okay,
is my greatest inspiration for it.
okay, okay,
Mohini is a
okay,
friend who first initiated me into writing poems. So
okay.
even now,
Now,
when I really need to be into poetry or into literature, I take
mhm,
up Mohini's poems, the ones I have in my collection.
okay, okay. Now, talking about the situation also sometimes they compel you to think. There are, big forces. So now,
Mhm.
uh, if I talk about the situation, in what kind of situation your creativity is at the highest level? What did you like to say about that?
Midnight, midnight,
Okay, okay, okay. You're talking about the time.
post
Midnight.
12.
Okay, so you're born nocturnal, right? You-
I
okay,
was
that's
born
very
post
nice.
12. So
Okay. Oh, okay. That's by default you are nocturnal. Fine, fine. That's great. That's great. Okay. Okay. And do you think about something specific as a writer? And I mean, that was what my last question was. That is quite related to that. Do you think about something specific as a writer?
specific, please elaborate.
Probably she wants to know. I mean, like, as a writer, what is your basic? What should I say?
The
That was
basic
the
thought
same
that first
question.
comes into my mind, right?
Yeah, that yeah should be close to that. What you're saying?
Yeah, it's mostly autobiographical in most cases.
Okay,
And after that, I develop it into
fine.
something. What you get to read in papers.
Okay, fine. That's good. Autobiographical. Would you ever indulge yourself
But
into?
I never bring in those bitter days in my works.
No,
I
you
always
should
tend to
not.
cherish the
Mhm.
3 days I have spent in my uh, mid-teens and all,
Mhm.
and I make them my subjects.
You cherish your good memories, right?
I do, I do. I do.
Mm,
It's
yes.
the only way to live, I think.
Only way to grow.
Only way to grow, only way to live.
Right.
You
Very
got it.
true. Very true. Very true. Now, like, would you ever indulge yourself into story writing because you're into
Yeah, I
poetry?
do write
You're a gen.
stories. I do write
Okay,
stories
that's
occasionally.
okay.
Occasionally.
Okay. What are the major topics of the story? I mean, you're writing a story on what situation? I mean, like, what's the background or backdrop? Would you just, I mean, tell our viewers a bit about that, elaborate a bit on that?
Well, once again, I can say that there is this cliche that all works of fiction are at some level. But what
Okay.
interests me most is that the urge to construct a particular time that I haven't seen in my lifetime and place some of my life instance in that particular time and
Okay.
develop thought accordingly.
Okay. That's true. That's quite interesting. We need another session, another show for that to know more about your writing habits. No, that's very true.
Thank you.
Uh, well, uh, the last question for you: did writing really help you to grow from within? And if yes, then how?
Well, it did help, but uh, I haven't been quite aware of this. I
Okay.
only came to know about my group later.
Mhm.
So I won't be able to say how it helped me. Yeah, it did help me.
Okay. So, as you just said, like you mostly write, your creativity level is at the highest, as is at the peak during midnight, right? Uh, that's the timing that you're talking about. But like, what triggers your writing habit when you are very sad or when you are very happy? I mean, different people have different writing habits or different situation that triggers that writing habit. For Shubhadra Kollan, what is that? What triggers
No,
his creativity
actually,
level writing habit?
like my most favorite melodies are the nocturnal melodies, like Dalbari Kannada, Kausi Kannada, Chaya, and all of them.
Okay.
And when I listen to music, some images come to my mind. I develop them into
Well,
stanzas.
the writing part is triggered. The writer Shubhadra is
Right,
triggered when you listen.
right, yeah. So the two personalities are interrelated,
Okay, yeah,
intertwined
that's
with
very
one another.
true.
So when
Okay.
I listen to my favorite melodies, lines automatically. Uh,
Mhm.
so, but
So
my
when can
most favorite melodies being the nocturnal ones, the night ragas,
okay,
I find it easier for myself to write post.
okay, that's really great. That's really great. So when are we expecting Shubhadra Kollan to author a book on music?
So
Okay, that's really great. I mean, our viewers will be really delighted to know that. Okay,
I've been
so that
writing
was
essays and articles on music on different perspectives.
okay.
I
That's
think it
great.
would
We're
be good
looking
to
forward to.
publish something on.
That's really nice to hear from you. Wish you all the best.
Thanks.
Wish you all the
Thank
best. Okay. So that was the end of our question answer round from the viewers. Now, Mr. Ganguly is waiting backstage. Let me add him to the stream. Yes, Mr. Ganguly.
Yeah. I was hearing Subhadrakalyan's nocturnal escapades.
Shubhadro, we move on to the last question. What would be your? We have got so many return gifts already. Got so many return gifts from you. So we have, yeah, Mr. Ganguly is
Glad.
there. I think.
Shubhadro, the way we have designed takes and talks is that when a guest comes, like they always give a parting gift. We call it a return
Yes.
gift, which we have to get. So, as a
We
parting
we
gift
have
to
already
your
got
viewers,
two. We have already got two,
okay,
but this is the final
yeah,
one.
yeah, that's true.
Okay,
Yes.
could you please
We
repeat?
heard the
Yeah.
tabla tarang, we heard the raga, and now we would like to hear a parting musically yours gift from you to say the finale, to have a fitting finale to this musically yours program. Over to Shubhadru.
Nice.
Definitely. Yeah. So this is. Uh, Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for coming to Takes and Talks.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
I'm really falling short of words.
thank you.
I don't know what to say. Shubhadra, thank you very much for being with us today. We wish you a very bright, very prosperous future. May you be successful in all your
Thank you.
creative endeavors, in your writing, in music, everywhere, in your
And
career.
I'm very
Wish
happy
you
to
all
be
the
here.
very best. And dear viewers, hope you, yeah, and it was our pleasure to have you with us today. Dear viewers, hope you have also enjoyed the show. As I always say, Takes and Talks is your very own platform. So if you have any such inspiring story, please do not forget to share with us. For details, please watch our next video. Thank you all.
Namaskar.